Okay, welcome everyone. I don't know if I'm live yet, but let me just believe I'm live. This is the first time I'm doing this. I am not used to Facebook Live. So if you can hear me, please let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. And quickly, we're just going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes that business owners, course creators, and people who render services make on the internet. It's not necessarily on the internet, even it can be made offline. So what is this problem? What causes this problem, and how can we address it? So this is what I can call underpricing. That is the process of charging your product or your services for less. For course creators, the process of charging for your courses for a far lesser price, a far less price than this you should charge. So many times people have different reasons for doing this, but what I have come to understand is that many times I've seen people do this because of fear. Am I going to sell? Are people going to buy from me? Is this not too outrageous? How about my competitors, and how are they charging this? If I charge this, would anyone even dare to buy from me? Or is this just going to be a waste of energy? And sometimes when you're running ad, you might be like, oh, maybe this is just gonna be like wasting of my resources on running the ad. No. What I will say is that you shouldn't even think like that in the first place. The most important thing is knowing the value you are bringing to the table. If you know the value of the product, if you know the value that the product you are selling is going to bring to the people, if you know what it's going to give to people, and you know what they are going to get from the product you are selling to them or the services you are rendering to them, and you are confident of yourself, please continue playing the song. I know I'm live. The song is giving me inspiration. So if you know the value you are bringing to the table, and you know people are actually going to get what they're paying for, so why finding it hard to charge the right price for your product? Now, many times people do this thing for just inferiority complex. Like, I have competitors, people that are far better than me in the market. In fact, they're even charging for less. Why should I charge high? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to charge high for your product, and I'm not telling you to undercharge. But what I'm telling you is that undercharging, whenever you are undercharging on your product or your services, you are sending a message across to your buyers. You are sending a message across to your potential buyers. Some people will not buy from you because the price of your product is too cheap. They'll be like, come on, what are you saying? This thing should be more than this. So definitely, if I pay just this amount for this, it can only mean one thing: this thing is going to be inferior, so I'm not paying for it. Now, what do you say about that? What do you say when someone who is supposed to buy from you saw the price of your product and they say no, they can't buy because it's too cheap? No, it shouldn't be like that. So what I will say is that there are ways you can learn how to charge for your product. Do not undercharge for your product. This is how to price your product or your services. Now, understand that what I'm bringing to the table is what the value is, what more than any money you can give me. This is where mastery and competence comes in. You must be very sure of what you are bringing to the table. You must be very sure that what I am doing here is. You must be very sure that what I am doing here is even to your own benefit. You must know that people are going to get what they are paying for. So you must be very confident in your product. That is the number one thing. You must be very confident in your product and your services that you are rendering to people. You must know that people are actually going to get what they are paying for. That will make you value your product and price it very well. You don't need to underprice to please people. Some people will not buy from you. I'm still repeating it because your product is too cheap. That is it. So now when you are trying to price your product, put the effort you are putting into into the creation of the course or into the creation of the product or the services you are rendering, you have to put them into consideration, and you have to make sure that there is maximum value inside this particular product, and so you must pay for it accordingly. Do not underprice your product. It's a sin against humanity. Do not underprice your product. You don't do that to please anyone or to make sure that people buy from you. You get it? Okay. Do not underprice your product, and make sure that people are getting maximum value from whatever it is that you are selling to them, whatever product you are offering to them. You must make sure that people are getting maximum value from it, so that you not be dragged online. There are people that are just lying somewhere to drag you. Immediately you fuck up, they want to drag you, they want to drag your brand, whatever you think you are building, they want to drag you. So you must be very confident of your product. You must be very confident of the value you are bringing to the table before you put it out there, and then people start dragging you. They are ready to drag anybody. In fact, this live video I'm doing, some persons are ready to drag me if I mess up. So that is life for you. People are ready to drag you. They are ready to talk about you. If you are going to put them into consideration, then you're not going to do anything with your life. So you must be confident of your product. Don't put shambles out there and expect people to pay, and at the end of the day they don't get value for their product. And I think I have something on my note written down here. Can I get this? So do not underprice your product. If you underprice your product because you want so many persons to buy, how about people who will not buy because it's too cheap? You have to put them into consideration too. So when you are pricing your product, you must put your value into consideration and make sure that what you are offering to the people is worthy of the price. Then you price your product according to your effort and according to the value that people are getting. Do not underprice, do not overprice. Don't think about, this guy would say my product is too expensive. This guy will say my product is this, is that. Don't think about I have competitors. Yeah, you can put your competitors into consideration when making your, you can make the research and just check the market. What are people charging for this? But then don't just go down. Don't just go down because you want people to buy from you. So bring the maximum value to the table. Price your product accordingly, putting everything into consideration. Do not charge for any lesser price. If you know what you are bringing to the table is worth it, then what you are charging should also be worth it. Now, I wrote something down here. A businessman must always remain sustainable, and for that it is necessary to remain reasonable with all expenses or recurring financial liabilities. However, affordability should not compel a business owner to make decisions that will not augur well for your enterprise. You see what I just said about that now? Affordability should not make you to make decisions that you will regret. Should not make you to make the decisions that will make you to run into a loss. You are putting effort, you are putting resources into creation of this particular thing. So you should make profit. After all, the reason you are into a business is the profit. Forget all this passion all of us are shouting on the social media. Profit. Yeah, we want to impact lives, but at the same time we should be making profit. For instance, opting for a cheap hosting plans will save you money, but the real cost has to be assessed. Now, hosting plans that cost very little every month to have a severely capped bandwidth. There will be hardly any worthwhile security for the website. The online presence will be compromised, as the uptime will not be 100%. Actually, I'm speaking in the language of a web developer, and our web designers can understand this. Now, for instance, when you are counting your cost for developing a website or designing a website for a client, and you are putting things into consideration, by the time you charge less, you're going to go for an inferior hosting provider, and you know the consequences of this thing: the downtimes, the poor support. And by the time you charge less, and then the client comes troubling you every time. Come on, this website is going down every now and then. The downtime, I don't understand. My website cannot even stay 24 hours without going down for 1 hour. Now, your reputation is at stake here. Why? Because you undercharged. This is one of the reasons that you should never undercharge, because by the time you have charged for this thing and you start working on it, if the thing goes wrong, your reputation is at stake. And meanwhile, to be a successful business owner, your reputation must always be intact. It is recommendation, word of mouth, that brings about the real organic clients. When people recommend you with the word of mouth, it is the best recommendation. Not, when you are putting out your heart and new clients are seeing it, they are registering. This trust is not really there. But when someone recommends you, now how do you get this recommendation? It's when you did not mess up with the work that they have given to you. So by the time you undercharge, there is every probability that you're going to mess up the customer's work. And when that is done, your reputation is at stake. Now, infrastructure is the backbone of any industry or business. Online business owners often opt for cheap infrastructure, which affects them. Don't go for cheap things. Don't go for cheap stuff. Make sure all the stuff you have to purchase for the success of the project you are handling, or the product you want to give to the people, are standard, are original, are genuine, not just fake stuff, to keep your own reputation in check. Now, this is why you should not charge less for your product. This is why you should not even charge less. In fact, for myself, I believe it's better to charge higher than the normal price, than to charge lower. That's my own standard of business. I don't know what to think about it. You can just let me know what you think about it about that in the comment section. I believe it's better to charge higher than to charge lower than what you are meant to charge. So do not charge less for any of your product, because there are always consequences. If you think about people not paying, if you think about people who say this, people who say that, then they are not your target audience. Your target audience will buy your product conveniently if you have done all your background work. Now, one of the things, let me just chip in this, it's 5 minutes already. One of the things that will still help you to achieve this, the right pricing, is getting a very good copywriter to write the copy for you, so that they will analyze your product, they will analyze your service, and there is a way. When you have a good copywriter, there is a way they do these things. I'm not a copywriter. I write some of my copies for my work though, but then I'm not a copywriter. I don't offer it as a service. But when you see copywriters, there's a way they put all these things. They analyze your product, and by the time your prospect or your clients even go through it, they know that, come on, damn, like, I'm scamming this guy. So you have to pay for the service of a copywriter when you don't know how to write a copy, so that the people can see the real value of what you are offering them. And then do not disappoint them at the end of everything. When after they have paid for your product, after they have paid for your services, and they are now going through the service you have delivered for them, or probably they are now going through the stuff you've given them, and now they're not even getting half of the value you analyze, because you have a copywriter. It will be like you have deceived them into paying you, and at the end of the day, they are not getting the value. That is a bad reputation for you. Get the service of a copywriter, and do not let your copywriter down. Do not let your business down. Do not let your clients down. In the same vein, do not let yourself down, and also do not undercharge for your product and your services. I think the 5 minutes is complete. Yeah, that's all we're here to talk about today. Thanks for joining in. I can see my brother Olagunju Jerry. I can see some other persons also. Thanks for joining in, and see you next time. We'll talk about this next time. Do not undercharge for your product. It's better you overcharge than undercharging. Thanks. See you next time.